Hi and welcome. I'm your host, Natalie McGuire, and today I'm going around asking people questions about creatine in today's episode of Fact or Fiction. Today I am here with
Kayla.
Kayla is a soccer player, is that correct?
Yes.
Do you know anything about creatine?
No.
Perfect. Okay, well, we're going to be playing Fact or Fiction, and your first statement is that creatine is a steroid and a stimulant. Is that true or false?
True?
It's actually false. It's neither. Creatine can kind of act like an anabolic steroid, but it's actually just a fuel source. Statement number 2. Endurance athletes store more glycogen due to creatine.
True.
Correct. That is a fact. Creatine can really help endurance athletes store that glycogen and use that for training and competition. Not only that, but creatine helps reduce inflammation and reduces cell damage for these intense competitions. Final statement. Creatine needs to be taken daily for it to work. Fact or fiction?
Fiction.
It's actually a fact. If you want creatine to work, you do need to take it daily because it needs to saturate that muscle. But if you want to take it during a certain time of day, it won't really matter as long as you're taking it daily, even if you aren't working out that day. Today I'm joined by
Catherine.
Catherine is a soccer player. Do you know anything about creatine?
No.
Well, today we're going to be playing Fact or Fiction. So here's your first statement. Creatine can cause weight gain. Fact or fiction?
Fiction.
It's actually a fact. Creatine can cause weight gain, but it's primarily in the form of lean body mass and not so much fat. Also, initially when you're taking creatine, water is being pulled into the muscle, so that initial weight gain is from water weight. The second statement of fact or fiction. Creatine hinders recovery.
Fiction.
You're correct. Creatine does quite the opposite, actually, and enhances that recovery. Third and final statement. Creatine causes cramps and dehydration. Fact or fiction?
Fiction.
Yeah. Creatine does the opposite and actually pulls that water into the muscle like we were talking about earlier, so it does not cause cramps and dehydration. Today we have
Jonathan McGuire.
Jonathan goes to the gym multiple times a week and runs. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, well, today we're playing Fact or Fiction, and your first statement is this. Creatine can sometimes cause GI issues. Fact or fiction?
That's a fact.
It is a fact. GI issues can happen when taking creatine, especially when you take too much at once, and only 5 to 7% of people experience stomach aches. Statement 2. Taking creatine improves the system of oxidative phosphorylation. Fact or fiction?
Wow. Not quite sure what that means, so fiction.
You are correct. That is fiction. Taking creatine improves our anaerobic system, or the phosphagen system, or some people will call it the phosphocreatine system. Final statement. Creatine can only be taken by those ages 18 to 65. Fact or fiction?
I'm going to go with fiction on that one.
You're correct. That is fiction. Creatine can be taken by anyone of any age. There's no evidence that shows that creatine is in any way dangerous or risky. And for the older generation, it can actually increase bone health. And then in the younger generation, it can improve cognition as well as athletic performance. So creatine actually helps with bone health and cognition. Today I am joined by
Madeline.
Madeline is a ballerina, is that correct?
Yes.
Do you know anything about creatine?
Not really.
Perfect. Well, we're going to be playing Fact or Fiction, and here's your first statement. Creatine is made up of 3 amino acids. Fact or fiction?
Fact?
Fact! That is correct. Creatine is made up of the 3 amino acids glycine, arginine, and methionine. Statement number 2. Creatine is made mostly by the gallbladder. Fact or fiction?
Fact.
Actually, creatine is made mostly by the liver, pancreas, and kidneys. It's stored in the skeletal muscle, and our body makes about 1 gram of creatine a day. Statement number 3. Vegans and vegetarians would least benefit from taking a creatine supplement because their diet is highly plant-based. Fact or fiction?
Fiction?
True. Vegans and vegetarians would actually benefit the most because they don't consume a lot of red meat or seafood, and that's where creatine comes most naturally in food. Thanks for watching another episode of Fact or Fiction. I hope you learned a lot about creatine today. The media likes to portray creatine as a bad guy, but that's not necessarily true. Creatine can improve our daily life overall. Whether you're old or young or somewhere in between, creatine can improve your cognition, your bone health, your athletic performance, anaerobic activities. Just think about it. Creatine can do it. So next time you think about creatine, you see it on the news, you see it on your phone, think about this video and all the good things it can do. Creatine's worth it. Maybe you should think about taking a supplement too.